When Aaron arrived in the world, I was in the middle of a spiritual crisis. I had gone to the university and been hanging out in an honors program that was asking me, what do you believe and why? And what happens if there is no God? And my whole very Christian upbringing kind of shattered into a million pieces.
We have a belief system by which we operate. And it's been unintentional. You know, it's come upon us through story, through our experience, whatever. And we are living according to a religion of stories. And this religion of story coming from a pastor's kid, a pastor, you know, that title freaked me out. that was as far as I got, the title. I'm like, huh?
I remember the day when mom and I, we were sitting at the dining room table and we were thinking of titles, and it was like A Religion of Story came out. I think that was like one of the first ones. You know, we were like, oh, that's it. But it's so controversial. Either you're going to run toward it or run away from it, probably. And so, but the thing is like you open with mom, it's like all religions are all religions of stories. You know, whether you believe that they actually happened or not, etc., they're all true in their own right, and they all are the common binding element of, you know, humanity.
Remember, before TV was there to help us, and before people were generally literate, what did you do after dark? All tribes and families would come together around that fireplace, and they would share stories, and those stories would be stories of tradition that had been handed down from one person or one generation to the next generation. And those stories would always include kind of the morals of the tribe or the culture. It was just kind of commonplace. That's how the traditions were passed down.
A religion of story is not meant to say watch story and use story instead, but I think it's more about use it alongside of and be intentional wherever story may come up.
The power of this and the power of what you do, Amanda. She taught me how to parent myself using the religion of my story.
So I think it's just incredibly powerful that people should read it, because I also think there's a lot of answers in it. I think there's a lot of healing in it. I think there's a lot of direction in it.
I think the really beautiful part about approaching it that way and doing it that way, you know, it's we hold such reverence to these sacred texts, more so because we've been taught to. But when you sort of step back, you realize that those sacred texts are written about people at that time and their experiences with whatever entity or feeling or conflict or experience that they were having. And it's, you know, we refer to it and we read it as if it's sacred. And part of what you're doing with this book and with your guys' message is taking that back to ourselves. Like, all of that is sacred.
As a clinician, rewriting stories is, you know, what I'm in all day with clients. So reading the book, to me, I was thinking, oh, how many conversations, how many of my clients am I going to recommend this book to? And they're not because they have kids or grandkids or that they're kids themselves, but this idea of being able to say, you know, whether it was through a religion or an experience or a family life, this idea of this is what I grew up believing, and is it possible for there to be a different kind of truth?